Okay, I got it. 007N7 is the biggest troll in Forsaken and is totally not useless. Did that grab your attention? Great, because I'm going to be explaining why, while also giving a tutorial on how to use him properly, both like a pro and a troll. We'll be starting these vids off with a new structure, the baby stuff, the easy stuff, and the complicated stuff. There will be chapters at the bottom of the screen, so if you just want one specific thing, you can go to that point in the vid. Now, let's get started. Starting off with the bare minimum you can do with 007N7 is gens, looping the killer, and managing your stamina. All three of these are so stupidly basic that I'm hardly going to spend any time focusing on them. Generators reduce time and help out a ton, so do them! Never let your stamina hit 0, you get punished if you do, and run around an object. Easy, simple, done. Let's move on. Welcome to the easy stuff. Here, I will be talking about 007N7's abilities, what each of them do, and how you can utilize them to survive. Speaking of surviving, that's 007N7's classification. He's a survivor class. Trust me, that's important for later. Starting off with 007N7's, he has one passive ability called Dex, which allows him to see the first survivor spawn. Keep in mind that it says survivor spawn. I thought that meant that that's the furthest point on the map that he could teleport to, but I'm a dumb sucker and didn't realize that's literally where survivors spawn in when the round begins. This ability pairs up nicely with... I'm calling him 07. I'm sick of calling him by his full name. 07's other ability called GUI. Cool GUI, specifically. Upon using this ability, 07 will get like slowness 5 or 10 and start a teleporting process, which takes 6 seconds to use before he teleports to said further survivor spawn. Being hit by the killer while using this ability will cause it to cancel out and the teleport will fail. 07's second ability and other duet being clone and inject. Clone spawns in a clone, exactly as it says it does, that runs around the map for 10 seconds, tripping on its own leg once the timer runs out. Upon using this ability, 07 will become nearly invisible, again, nearly, not totally, and gain the undetectable perk for 4 seconds, making him invisible to all ESP, or aura, abilities. That means Jason, 1x4, and John Doe cannot use their abilities to find 07 when he clones. Off script, but this also means that Noli can't find him because I will have this video out before Noli gets released. That is a promise. This does not work for LMS anymore, however, I think, so don't even bother using it. I think they updated that. I don't know. As for Inject, 07's clone will swap between 3 different path settings. Random, which means it randomly runs around. Pathfind, which will send the clone running towards the nearest survivor spawn on the shortest path. And finally, we have the most power one and underused, Cursor, which makes the clone follow your cursor. That's pretty much it for 07 as a character, since he is just a useless survivor. There's not To be fair, I kind of gave it away with my own plot twist, but I still want to do it, so stick with me here. 07 is a lot more impactful and complicated than you might originally think. While on the surface, 07 is just a survivor who only helps himself, that does not always mean you have to use him like a survivor. Let's move into the complex section, shall we? Starting off, we have the main trolling part of 07, his clone ability. Similar to Spy in TF2, there's no better disguise than the wall that hides you. To quote infamous Invictus, go sub, I like her stuff. Using the environment to hide the clone can really change how a chase plays out. Good enough players will know that 07's clones don't produce any chase theme, meaning an experienced killer will know that a clone straight away, but it's less about the clone and its instance. Rather, it's about the invisibility and undetectability. In a dark enough environment, 07's invisibility paired with a dark enough skin can easily let you escape. And while most killers will wait some 5 seconds before using their ESP, you can be long gone by then, forcing them to have to waste stamina to catch back up to you, all while you regenerate your stamina or even get help from fellow team members. What a silly little troll you are. Troll method number 3. Your freaking annoying clone. This clone has a lot more to it than just being a distraction. Similar to Noob Slayskin, it can be used to body block and even guest bait killers. Remember when I mentioned how important the cursor mode was going to be? Well, here's my explanation. It's pretty easy to move the clone with your cursor. I'm not sure about controller players, to be honest, since the clone follows your cursor's exact movement. Wait, that literally made no sense. I'm not sure about controller players though. Since the clone follows your cursor's exact movement, you can body block a good chunk of the attacks in Forsaken, with the only exceptions being Mass Infection, Jason's M1, Behead, and Raging Pace, Cool Kid's Corrupt Nature, and John Doe's Corrupt Energy. Other than that, however, every other attack can be blocked to some degree. That means that Jason's Gashing Wound, Cool Kid's Walk Speed Override, and John Doe's traps can all be avoided using the clone. Which, by the way, are some of the strongest attacks in the game. You probably noticed I didn't bring up 1x4's Entanglement, and that's because it's kind of 50-50. I've seen 1x4's run past the clone knowing he has a decoy, and I've seen some attack the clone, so it really just does come down to the experience. As for Cool Kid, John Doe, and 1x4's M1's attacks, or their default click and slash, if you don't know what M1 stands for, all of them can be body blocked by clone. Unfortunately, Jason can hit multiple targets, so it hardly even matters. And while that whole rule technically does apply to Gashing Wound, players typically aren't stupid enough to stand in one. Ooh! No way he actually grabbed it, but the stupid guest still died. You idiot! Why wouldn't you? Oh my god. Anyway. I just gave my explanation, so there went my script. Oh, and by the way, since I have actually played with Noli and I have a bit of a script on him, yes, Noli's attacks can be blocked by a clone, with the only exception being his Void Star. His Void Rush can be blocked, and his basic M1 can be blocked. So, yeah, just a little fun fact, actually. Yeah, all of this I wrote in the script literally means nothing, so, whoops. Anyway, let's keep moving. And all of this is possible with 07's cursor movement pattern for his clone. Truly the ultimate troll experience. Speaking of which, the ultimate troll experience isn't even tricking them, but rather blocking their best attacks, and just blocking their attacks is what really annoys them. Imagine how it must feel going to hit someone with Walk Speed Override or Gashing Wound, just to see a stupid clone run into your face and body block the attack, wasting what would have been 40 damage on a survivor. You can imagine they'll be pissed. As for John Doe's traps, it's another 50-50. If the John Doe has a bunch of digital footprints down and they've trapped someone, having a clone run in and delete all of those footprints is seriously annoying. But during a chase, giving John Doe that speed 1 can kill someone. So be careful how you use your clone with these traps. Alright, that was a lot to take in. There's probably more you can do with 07, but either I forgot because this video needs to be short for attention span, or I just don't know them. And that's it. That's pretty much all you need to know when it comes to maining 07. Hopefully I was able to sway your opinion that 07 can prove that he's not totally useless if someone knows what they're doing. Which hopefully after this video comes out, more people will know what they're doing when they play him. Thanks so much for watching to the end. I know not everyone does, so you're a cool kid because of it. And speaking of cool kid, as a bonus for those of you who made it to the end, I'll add one last thing about maining 07. If you ever get into an LMS with a cool kid, you'll hear the amazing special song called Plead by Key After Key, which has a few remixes I'd like to recommend. Those being Imperfect's Penance and Crimson Anarchy's Plead remix. My final note goes out to my community, who have been the definition of the Forsaken community and eagerly awaiting for this video in specific to come out. But like a true Forsaken dev, I didn't release it when I said I would. Whoops. I probably shouldn't let that happen again. Especially because very recently, we've actually played with Noli. So now it's kind of like I'm behind in this race of mine to get this video out before Noli. Because now we actually know stuff about Noli. That's why I had to go off script. Alright, that concludes it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.